Who really invented football? The story behind the world's most popular sport. More than 5 billion people have watched football. From the streets of Rio de Janeiro to the stadiums of Europe, football has become the world's most beloved sport. Every 4 years, the FIFA World Cup captures the attention of billions, making it one of the largest sporting events on Earth. But despite football's global popularity, one surprisingly simple question still doesn't have a simple answer. Who actually invented football? China says it did. Italy disagrees. England insists modern football belongs to them. So who's telling the truth? To answer that question, we have to travel back more than 2,000 years, because the history of football didn't begin in a stadium. It began on a battlefield. Chapter 1. Ancient China. The first football? Around the 3rd century BC, during China's Warring States period, powerful kingdoms fought constantly for territory. One of the strongest was the state of Qi. Preparing soldiers for war required more than strength. They needed agility, balance, endurance, and quick decision-making. According to historical records, military trainers developed a game called Cuju. The name itself reveals how simple the idea was. Q means to kick. Ju refers to a ball made from leather. The earliest versions were surprisingly primitive. Leather was stitched together and filled with feathers or animal hair, creating a lightweight ball that players kicked without using their hands. At first, Cuju wasn't a competitive match. Instead, it resembled modern freestyle football. Players challenged themselves to keep the ball in the air for as long as possible, showing off balance, coordination, and control. But games evolve, and so did Cuju. Over the following centuries, the sport became increasingly organized. Teams were formed, playing fields appeared, scoring systems were introduced, even the ball itself became more advanced. Instead of stuffing leather with feathers, craftsmen began placing inflated animal bladders inside stitched leather panels, creating something remarkably similar to an early football. There was one major difference. Unlike today's rectangular goals, many versions of Cuju used a single elevated goal with a circular opening suspended above the ground. Teams scored by kicking the ball cleanly through that hole. Simple in theory. Extremely difficult in practice. For many historians, this represents the earliest well-documented ball game that closely resembles football. Even FIFA has acknowledged Cuju as the earliest recorded football-like game in its historical overview. But here's the important distinction. Recognizing the oldest football-like game is not the same as saying modern football was invented in China. And that's where the debate begins. Because China isn't the only country with a compelling claim. Chapter 2. Italy's brutal version of football. Several centuries later, another game appeared in Europe. The Italians called it Calcio Storico. If Cuju emphasized precision, Calcio celebrated chaos. Imagine combining football with rugby, with wrestling, and then removing almost every safety rule. That's Calcio Storico. Players could tackle, grapple, push, throw opponents to the ground. The objective was still to move the ball into the opponent's scoring area, but before you could even think about scoring, you had to survive everyone trying to stop you. Modern football fans might complain about aggressive tackles. Calcio players would have laughed. Compared to their matches, today's football looks almost peaceful. In fact, the historic version of Calcio is still played today in Florence, Italy. Watching it feels less like attending a football match, and more like witnessing an organized medieval battle. So why do Italians mention Calcio when discussing football's origins? Because it shares several important elements. A ball, two competing teams, a defined playing area, a scoring objective. But despite those similarities, it still looks nothing like the sport watched by billions today. And that brings us to the third, and perhaps most influential, claim. England, the country that didn't invent kicking a ball, but may have invented the game the entire world agreed to play. Coming up next, how a violent medieval pastime became the modern game of football.